Soo-hyun is cruising on her iron horse, heading out to make a delivery to an older lady. As the lady counts out the cash to pay her, Soo-hyun notices she doesn't seem as cheerful as usual. Her face looks stiff and forced. As it turns out, this is a total setup. The lady is being forced to follow the orders of two guys lurking right behind her. Luckily, the lady handles it brilliantly. While making small talk with Soo-hyun, she picks up a mirror and holds it up so Soo-hyun can see her reflection. In that same reflection, she reveals the two strangers standing behind her, letting Soo-hyun know that her weird behavior today is because she's being watched. Immediately, Soo-hyun bolts, with the two punks hot on her heels. The chase gets even more intense when the police join the fray. But Soo-hyun is lightning fast. With her slick moves, she easily weaves through the streets and makes a smooth getaway. Just when it seems like she's backed into a corner, a mysterious guy steps in to help. He grabs a fire extinguisher and sprays the two officers, blinding them. Once they shake off their tail, the guy, who is a foreigner, realizes that if they keep running like this, they'll get busted sooner or later. So he suggests they duck into a motel to hide. After a lot of close calls, the two finally make it to a room, even though their pursuers are still scouring the area. The guy tosses a maid outfit onto the bed and tells Soo-hyun to change into it to stay clean and safe. Once that's done, he finally peels off his mask. Behind it is a very handsome guy with a bit of a bad boy vibe. He calmly tells her his name is Jay and says she doesn't need to worry about the details. All she needs to know is that he's the one who just saved her from a world of trouble. Eventually, the two cops arrive at the hotel to search for them. While the receptionist leads them to the hideout, Soo-hyun and Jay have completely transformed their appearance. They start playing a cat-and-mouse flirting game in the hallway, which completely catches the cops off guard and lowers their defenses. Thanks to this distraction, the duo successfully slips out of the hotel safely. To celebrate the win, Jay insists that Soo-hyun treat him to a meal. He tells her, "With all the help I gave you today, you owe me way more than just a dinner." Then, out of nowhere, he starts reciting every single detail about Soo-hyun's family background, which leaves her completely stunned. She can't wrap her head around who the hell this guy is or how he knows her family's secrets so intimately. Soo-hyun tries to walk away, leaving Jay to ramble to himself. But even as she leaves, he keeps hounding her, spamming her brain with family secrets until she finally snaps. She grabs Jay by the collar, her face tight with tension. That's when Jay drops the real bombshell. He's been watching her for a long time. He knows that deep down, she is a master counterfeiter. Jay makes her an offer. He wants her to print 300,000 $100 bills. He'll take that dirty money, wash it clean, and they'll split the profit 50-50ths. That night, Soo-hyun goes home to discuss the proposal with her father. When he pushes back, she hits him with a string of very convincing reasons why they should take the job. Just as the tension peaks, her younger sister, Jaeon, walks in and drags everyone out to eat some noodles she cooked herself. After the family meal, everyone heads to their rooms, but Soo-hyun tosses and turns all night, unable to sleep because of Jay's offer. The next morning, while she's out for a jog, a friend hands her a letter. It's a message from Jay that leaves her totally blindsided. She barely gets home to beg her dad one more time when Jay suddenly shows up, carrying a massive suitcase. He pops it open to reveal it's stuffed with 50,000 won bills, leaving both Soo-hyun and her father frozen in shock. With that, the deal is officially struck. Soo-hyun leads Jay and his associate down to the family's secret basement. There, Jay breaks down his plan in meticulous detail. His explanation proves just how much of a sly fox he is, but also how professional and credible he is as a partner for this heist. After hearing him out, the father and daughter are totally on board and dive straight into the work. The entire production line moves in perfect sync, without a single flaw. Even Jay is left in awe of the meticulousness and professionalism of Soo-hyun's family. The operation goes exactly according to Jay's original plan. It's so perfect, it's down to a science. Once the mission is finally complete, Jay invites Soo-hyun out for a meal to walk down memory lane. In a picturesque setting, the two share a deep, heart-to-heart conversation. Before they part ways, he surprises her with a stunning diamond necklace as a gift. When a curious Soo-hyun asks if they will ever cross paths again, Jay gives a cryptic response. "Haven't we met somewhere before? I just have this feeling that our paths have crossed." After saying those words, Jay takes one last, long look at Soo-hyun before disappearing into the distance. A short while later, while driving home, Soo-hyun gets a frantic call from her father. He tells her that if they send the money away now, they'll finally be safe. Hearing this, Soo-hyun is hit with a wave of anxiety and speeds back home as fast as she can. By the time she arrives, the police are already on the scene. But tragically for her, she's too late. Her home, the place that served as the secret laboratory for their sophisticated counterfeit masterpieces, has been reduced to nothing but ash and dust. A single, Massive explosion has wiped out everything, including her father. Soo-hyun desperately weaves through the raging fire, only to be met by a stranger stepping out from the flames. Wearing a gas mask, the man coldly walks away, leaving her alone in the wreckage with her father's body. Seeing her father's tragic end, Soo-hyun realizes there's nothing she can do to save him. With legs heavy from pure helplessness, she stumbles outside, only to be immediately apprehended by the inspector. Meanwhile, at the harbor, a gang has successfully hijacked the clean money. All the hard work put in by Soo-hyun and Jae has effectively gone down the drain. Watching the distant fire from afar, Jae can only stand there in silent frustration before walking away. After that horrific night, Soo-hyun is taken to the station for questioning. The inspector grills her, demanding information about the man known as Jae to aid the investigation. Through tears and a heart full of resentment, Soo-hyun recounts the entire story. We then get a flashback to two children, presumably a young Jae and a young Soo-hyun, riding together on a bicycle. When she asks him about his dream for the future, Jae's answer is chilling. I want to be a scammer for the money. I'll become the best there is, so I can live a fake life as if it were real. As he speaks, he points toward the towering skyscrapers in the distance. Perhaps it was a cruel society that planted such twisted views in the mind of a young boy, or maybe it was the dark, damp reality Jae grew up in that molded him into the man he is today. Back in the present, Jae shows his cold-blooded nature. After personally sending a fat boss to the afterlife, he callously stuffs a bill into the man's mouth and turns his back on the scene. Meanwhile, Kite, the leader of the financial crimes team, is busy buttering up a patrol officer to avoid a parking ticket. His smooth talking and attempted bribery only make the officer laugh. Kite continues to cruise along, casually poking fun at his boss, until the phrase counterfeit bill is mentioned, and his jaw absolutely drops in shock. At the crime scene, the area is swarming with forensics and police surrounding the body. Suddenly, a man walks in, and everyone instinctively clears a path for him. This is Jung Hyuk, the legendary head of the city's violent crimes unit. His aura is undeniable. With just a single glance at the scene, Jung Hyuk knows instantly that the bill found on the victim is a fake. Kite, on the other hand, is squinting his eyes, staring at the bill from every angle, but he still can't tell if it's real or fake. They have to call in the industry's top expert on counterfeiting to get a definitive answer. The result is terrifying. The bill passes every single test, detectors, infrared, and even chemical reactions. Everything indicates that this bill is so realistic that even the expert admits he could have been fooled. The identity of the person behind this 99% perfect bill remains a mystery, but their MO is strikingly bold. It turns out that a man shot in his room 2 weeks ago was also found with a $100 bill in his mouth, exactly like this one. As the expert discusses the murder linked to this sinful currency, Jung Hyuk's name comes up again because he was the one who caught the fake bill back then, too. Without being an expert or using any special tools, Jung Hyuk just knew. Kite can't help but feel that something smells fishy. He feels like an outsider in his own counterfeit case. Now, he's determined to dive deep into the investigation, making sure not a single detail slips through the cracks. At the same time, right on the main street, there's a karaoke bar that looks like a normal business on the outside. But don't let that fool you. Inside, it's a fortress guarded 24/7 by mobsters stationed at a heavy iron gate. Behind those bars lies an underground arena, the absolute lowest pit of society, where money is the only tool used to entertain the filthy rich. This is where they come to bet on blood and bone. In this dark corner, we meet a real brute, a guy whose face screams trouble the moment you look at him. He's the right-hand man and the muscle for Jung Hyuk in this criminal underworld. When it comes to status, he's basically second in command to one, but above 10,000. He doesn't hesitate to educate an employee with his fists just for speaking out of turn. Yet, with just one phone call from Jung Hyuk, he's instantly on his best behavior, even personally delivering a young girl right to his boss. It turns out Jung Hyuk, the head of the violent crimes unit, is a total piece of work. He holds the title of a top cop, but in reality, he's running a massive criminal syndicate. With a simple wave of his hand, his subordinate knows exactly what to do and rushes into a secret room. Hidden right behind the scenes is a full-scale drug lab. Workers in hazmat suits do nothing but pump out meth for him to peddle on the streets. While Jung Hyuk is busy drowning himself in women and drugs, the honest cops are working overtime to find the mastermind behind all of this. Despite being just a financial cop, Kite uses his brilliant deductive skills to provide enough evidence to prove this is a sophisticated scam. One that involves not just counterfeit cash, but human lives. Every piece of evidence Kite uncovers points directly at Jae. The evidence is so overwhelming that Kite's boss personally assigns him to the case. A young hotshot sitting nearby scoffs, clearly looking down on Kite's abilities. without even bothering to snap back. Kite just flashes a cheerful smile and heads out to do his job, leaving the kid fuming as he tries, and fails, to outshine Kite. There's no time to waste because the longer this goes on, the bigger this criminal empire grows. The drug lords are looking to expand their market and aren't afraid to hunt for investors to take things to the next level. A once familiar name is now becoming a legendary shadow, Jay. Wherever there's a major crime, Jay's name is attached to it. Dusik, a major drug distributor, is currently having a massive headache because his business is hitting a wall. In this underworld, you need real capital to stay afloat. Suddenly, his subordinate brings news that Jay wants to invest a staggering amount of money into Dusik's operation. Despite being skeptical of Jay's mysterious nature, it's hard to say no to that kind of cash. What the fat cat Dusik doesn't know is that every word of his conversation is being intercepted by an undercover cop. Connecting the dots from 5 years ago, Kite realizes with 90% certainty where Jay is hiding. He's been at the city's harbor ever since that explosion years ago. Kite immediately calls his young superior. Using his silver tongue, Kite manages to get a squad of men in black style guards to follow him. They storm into the empty shipping containers at the harbor, expecting a spectacular chase or a high-stakes standoff. Instead, all they find is a single broken bed frame left in the dust. The young colleague mocks him, asking, "Is this Jay's grand return?" The sarcasm drives Kite insane, and he throws a chair right past the kid's head in a fit of rage. Seemed like they just bit Jay's bait, but Kite actually ends up with an unexpected lead. Somehow, Hian has reappeared for the first time since that tragedy 5 years ago. As she's sitting in her car, a massive shipping container falls straight from the sky. By some miracle, it misses her, smashing into the ground right next to her car. Hian knows better than anyone that this was no accident. She immediately turns herself in to the police because she knows that, right now, the station is the only safe place left for her. That same night, a man named Youngwoo is stumbling home, completely wasted. Out of nowhere, a stranger approaches him, claiming to be an old acquaintance and trying to strike up a conversation. Even through his drunken haze, Youngwoo knows he's never seen this guy before. He tries to walk away, but he's suddenly surrounded by masked men. They press a chloroform-soaked cloth over his mouth, knocking him out before he can even react. Back with Hian, Kite is still bitter about being demoted after the case 5 years ago. He looks at Hian and realizes she actually looks younger and better than before. Maybe he's just annoyed that he's the only one who's been aged and tortured by time. But Hian is in no mood for jokes, speaking in a state of pure panic. It's clear to Kite that she isn't just talking. She is begging him to save her life and help her escape the living hell she's been trapped in for all these years. Flashback to 4 months ago. This was the time when Hian was busy meeting with a big lady broker to exchange stacks of dirty cash. During this meeting, Hian is hit with a bombshell. Her younger sister, Hian, is also there to pull off her own private money laundering scheme. Hian is absolutely floored, unable to wrap her head around how her sister could have gotten her hands on that much money. When Hian shows up at the broker's counter, she bumps right into Hian. The two sisters head outside to have a heart-to-heart. When Hian grills her about where the dirty money came from, Hian nonchalantly replies that she found it while sorting through their father's belongings after the fire. Not only that, but she reveals that this money is part of her master plan to get revenge for their father. Seeing that her sister is heading down a dangerous path, Hian lets her in on a shocking plan she's been brewing for a long time. A plan that could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Immediately after, Hian takes Hian to meet a mysterious guy. It turns out he's an acquaintance of Jay, known as the Fixer. After a quick exchange and seeing the Fixer's elite hacking skills in action, the 3 of them strike a deal. The next day, while the Fixer is driving, he gets a call from Jay. Jay invites him to Monaco, and the Fixer is clearly hyped about the offer. But as soon as he hangs up, the Fixer calls the sisters to alert them. Jay is making his move. He immediately pulls a U-turn and heads to the airport to meet Jay. In the blink of an eye, the Fixer is in Macau. Being young and restless, the first thing he does upon arrival is hit the casino. He's deep into a card game, ignoring everyone around him, when a familiar figure appears behind him. It's Jay. He drags the Fixer outside so they can have a private chat. The Fixer's eyes light up when he sees Jay carrying a massive haul of cash. When he asks why Jay has such a huge stack, Jay bluntly tells him it's all counterfeit. He's carrying it so he can legalize it into real currency and live like a king. Then Jay cuts straight to the chase. Knowing the Fixer is only motivated by profit, Jay makes him a massive offer. He'll pay him 10 times more if he switches sides and works for him. Hearing such a lucrative deal, the Fixer doesn't waste a second. He locks in the deal and takes Jay out to eat so they can talk more. The very next day, the 2 of them head deep into the underworld. This place is managed by none other than the corrupt cop, Young-hyuk, a location so well hidden that no one would ever suspect it. Jae and Young-hyuk sit down for a meeting over a meal. Young-hyuk arrogantly explains to Jae that the two fighters currently brawling on the floor are both his debtors. Seeing the type of man he's dealing with, Jae needles Young-hyuk with a few sharp comments, driving the cop absolutely insane with rage. Young-hyuk almost orders one of the fighters to get in the ring and give Jae a beating just to show off his power, but Jae remains cool as ice and skillfully de-escalates the situation. Then, Jae hands Young-hyuk a dark contract and tells him to read it before making a move. As Young-hyuk opens the contract to discuss their shady business, the fixer clicks open a lighter that has a hidden recording device inside. Every word of their conversation is being transmitted directly to the sisters, who are listening to everything from afar. Soo-hyun takes all this intel straight to Inspector Kite. Once he has the info, the inspector wastes no time and mobilizes his team to strike while the iron is hot. Even though his colleagues try to talk him out of it, nothing can extinguish the fire of justice burning inside him. While Kite's squad is racing to the scene, a small scuffle breaks out at Young-hyuk's underground arena. Security catches a couple of junkies snorting drugs in the bathroom and immediately drags them out by the neck to toss them out. In their dazed state, the junkies accidentally stumble into a restricted room. Meanwhile, Young-hyuk's right-hand man is driving when he gets an emergency call from the arena. The subordinate at the ring tells him the police are coming, and they need backup fast. He immediately tries to call Young-hyuk, but gets no answer. Sensing that something is horribly wrong, he pulls a U-turn and races back to the arena. At that moment, the two junkies manage to crawl into a room. One of them, clutching a knife, lunges at a girl inside, stabbing her repeatedly and ending her life. By the time Young-hyuk's subordinate makes it back, the underground arena is already being swarmed and surrounded by the cops. But right now, the police raid is the least of his worries. His boss is currently being held at knife point by a crazed junkie. The subordinate starts smooth-talking and using some mind games to distract the addict. While the junkie is dazed and confused, Young-hyuk seizes the opening, breaks free from the hold, and immediately launches a brutal counterattack. Fueled by pure rage, the corrupt captain beats the man half to death. Not stopping there, he pulls out a knife to threaten him further. Meanwhile, Gite's team finally breaks into the underground arena, only to find the place completely deserted. Not a single soul is in sight. The sight of local police and familiar colleagues already on the scene makes Gite incredibly frustrated. He knows the drill. After a brief, tense exchange with his fellow officers, he tells his teammates and the local cops to pack it up and withdraw. On the other side of the building, after terrifying the junkie, Young-hyuk realizes he has a much bigger problem on his hands. There's a dead body. Using his years of experience in the force, he ruthlessly forces the two junkies to take the fall, making them sign off on every single crime. As Gite is leaving, his gut tells him something is off. He doubles back to the very room where Young-hyuk and his men are frantically covering up their tracks. But he's just a few seconds too late. The criminals manage to slip away right before Gite steps inside. Just as he's about to walk out the door, Gite hears a blood-curdling scream. The sound is constant and haunting, putting him on high alert. With his gun drawn, Gite starts kicking down doors one by one, searching for the source of the noise. It turns out the sound is coming from Young-hyuk's personal quarters. It looks like the captain just did something horrific to someone. Young-hyuk is drenched in sweat, with the victim's blood still splattered on him. He's calmly washing his hands and feet as if he just disposed of a stray animal rather than a human being. His subordinate waits for him to finish cleaning up before reporting that the police are at the door. By then, it's almost too late. Gite is already at the threshold with his weapon ready. Seeing the shadow of his hunter, Young-hyuk bolts, running for his life. Gite catches a glimpse of the figure but can't quite make out his face. Young-hyuk uses a secret passage inside the casino to escape, while simultaneously alerting the crew in the drug lab to pack up their gear and vanish. While Young-hyuk's inner circle is making a run for it, his subordinate stays behind to stall Gite. By the time Gite is done dealing with the mess Young-hyuk left behind, the corrupt captain is long gone. Young-hyuk has far too many tricks up his sleeve to get caught this easily. With his high-ranking position as the head of criminal investigations, there's almost nothing he can't cover up. In fact, nearly half the officers at the precinct are practically on his payroll. The only one left fighting the good fight is Gite. He's been up all night trying to crack the case, fueling himself with his favorite hamburger. But looking at Soo-hyun's depressed face, he can barely swallow his food. The only reason he's even sitting there is that she's the only link to the mysterious Jae. Even though she was Jae's partner in crime and his primary money launderer, even she doesn't fully understand his ultimate goal. Jae had vanished without a trace for 3 whole years, cutting off all contact with her. Now, he suddenly resurfaces just to recruit her for some unfinished business. Even though they bicker like cats and dogs during their business meetings, anyone watching can tell there's a deep, unspoken romantic tension between them. Soo-hyun watches sadly as Jae walks away. Once he's out of sight, she pulls a necklace out of a drawer, likely a gift from Jae, and her heart grows even heavier. The following day, she shows up at the secret meeting spot Jae had designated. This time, she doesn't come alone. She brings along a famous hacker named Hyun. This hacker girl is the missing piece of the puzzle for Jae's next master plan. His move: he's going to use 50 billion in counterfeit bills to buy 200 billion worth of high-grade drugs. Jae plans to swap the ZP-11, the fake cash, for something much easier to move on the black market. After that, they'll split the haul according to everyone's cut. Hyun sits there, her eyes widening as she starts doing the math on the massive fortune she's about to make. The staggering amount of 40 billion won makes Hyun's eyes light up, and she demands to join the crew immediately. However, Soo-hyun is still skeptical about the information Jae is feeding them. She's terrified that he might be playing another game of hide and seek with her. To prove he's serious, Jae takes the group to meet their final team member, a woman named Kankani, who runs a printing factory packed with illegal laborers. When she sees Jae and Soo-hyun, Kankani is overjoyed and gives Soo-hyun a warm, enthusiastic welcome. It's been a long time since this elite counterfeiting squad has been all together. Jae doesn't waste time on small talk and cuts straight to the chase, asking Kankani if she has the equipment he requested. With a grin, she leads the group into a secret basement hidden deep within the factory. She pulls back a hidden curtain to reveal a specialized, high-tech printing press. This machine is the key to Jae's plan to churn out those 50 billion won. Soo-hyun immediately gets to work, using her incredible artistic talent to recreate every tiny detail of the bill with expert precision. In no time at all, she produces a replica so perfect it's indistinguishable from the real thing, earning her high praise from Jae. With everyone's specialized skills working in harmony, the pile of fake cash grows until it looks like a mountain. Jae's crew is ecstatic, literally smelling the fresh scent of the newly printed money over and over again. They decide to celebrate this successful start at a luxury restaurant. Jae nonchalantly pulls out a stack of counterfeit bills to pay the bill, completely unaware that Soo-hyun has been sabotaging him behind his back. As it turns out, her goal from the very beginning of this mission was to aid the police. While she's busy leaking information to the cops from a public phone booth, she's blindsided. Jae has been standing right outside watching her the whole time. Just like that, Jae locks both Soo-hyun and Hyun in a makeshift dungeon. Using Hyun's life as leverage, Jae forces Soo-hyun to keep printing even more money. Back in the present, as Soo-hyun tells her story, Inspector Gite is left speechless by a horrifying truth. Jae didn't just stop at the original 50 billion. He printed a jaw-dropping 500 billion won. When the officers at the station hear this number, they descend into a state of total panic. An amount that massive has the power to single-handedly collapse the entire national economy. But since Jae discovered that Soo-hyun sold him out, she's become useless to him. Jae kicks Soo-hyun out of the group, but he keeps Hyun locked up. He knows the hacker girl still has utility value, and more importantly, she's his perfect hostage. Jae then shows Hyun a photo of Soo-hyun being taken away by the police. Since Hyun is cut off from the outside world and doesn't know the full story, Jae can perfectly brainwash her. He lies to her face, telling her that Soo-hyun betrayed her, too. Jae then forces Hyun to use her elite hacking skills to help him. The situation gets even messier as more powerful players enter the game. The country's top elites are now shaking hands behind closed doors for something very shady. Chairman Young-chul of the bank holds a secret meeting with several high-ranking government officials. These big bosses appear to be personally running a criminal empire to line their own pockets. Every illegal activity is under the chairman's thumb, and it turns out even the corrupt Captain Young-hyuk is just a pawn being supported and managed by this man. These powerful figures are currently plotting their next move, a dirty money scheme involving upwards of 300 billion won. Both Jae's side and Young-hyuk's side are now diving headfirst into this massive, dangerous operation. The scene opens on a beautiful morning with Jae and the corrupt captain, Young-hyuk, taking a little stroll. Jae has to keep reassuring a restless Young-hyuk, telling him they're almost at the destination. Young-hyuk finally shuts his trap and keeps walking, having absolutely no clue that they still have a long, long way to go. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun is sitting down with Inspector Gite to go over everything that's been going down lately. Between Jae making his big comeback and the string of recent murders, Soo-hyun is feeling seriously uneasy. Just as Gite voiced his suspicions, his assistant slides in with a major save. The assistant informs Gite that the bullets found in the recent victims are a match, an eerily perfect match. This sends Gite straight to the phone to call the forensics lab. After digging for info, he discovers that these specific bullets belong to a gun that is incredibly rare to find on the South Korean black market. This discovery alone sets off a massive alarm in Gite's head. Back at the stroll after a long walk, Jay finally breaks down the plan and the complex structure of the secret tunnel he's building. Being enlightened by the king of the underworld himself, and standing right there in the tunnel, makes the beast inside Young-hyuk groan with pure, greedy joy. The two of them share a moment of mutual satisfaction over a plan that looks absolutely flawless. Back at the station, Soo-hyun tells Gite about the day she met the victim, Do-sik. She says she was working on a small deal when she happened to run into him. Seeing his reflection, she found a way to approach him and whispered a warning. The cops are on your tail. She told him his only move was to run out and catch a taxi with the plate number 8508. Panicked, Do-sik bolted and successfully ditched the police. Once he was inside the car, Jay gave him an earful. After Jay was done talking, the two of them struck a deal regarding the meth being produced deep in the basement. The plan was simple. Do-sik would snatch the entire 100 billion won drug stash and leave with Jay. Of course, Do-sik's cut would be a cool 50 billion. Blinded by greed, Do-sik locked in the deal. But just when it looked like the plan was going to go off without a hitch, Do-sik decided to play dirty and betray Jay. Not one to be messed with, Jay played even dirtier. He tipped off Young-hyuk that Do-sik had stolen the drugs, essentially using the corrupt cop's hands to take out the traitor. With these new clues from Soo-hyun, Gite rushes back to the investigation room to demand answers. He's furious, questioning why Young-hyuk has been excluded from the suspect list and how the authorities can just turn a blind eye to the secret empire the captain is running. He expected his rage to get him some answers, but instead, the other officers completely ignored him. Feeling humiliated and defeated, he heads back to Soo-hyun about his lack of progress. That's when Soo-hyun drops another truth bomb about Jay's crew. It turns out there was another member, a woman named Dr. Choi. Jay had planted her right inside Young-hyuk's inner circle as a plan B. Feeling that something was fishy, Soo-hyun had secretly recorded Dr. Choi while she was analyzing chemicals. Not only that, but she also carefully took photos of everything, just in case they became useful later on. In the darkness of the tunnel they're developing, Jay finally shows Young-hyuk the massive mountain of counterfeit cash he's been holding. Overwhelmed by the sight of that supersized fortune, Young-hyuk actually pulls out a bill and uses it to light his cigar. The ultimate flex. Immediately after that, Young-hyuk goes to meet a bank director to fish for info on KC Bank's cash transport schedules. The two of them dive deep into the details, discussing exactly how much profit they can squeeze out of every single shipment. Young-hyuk was just waiting for a moment like this to pounce. He baits the bank director with an absolutely massive deal, promising to tenfold his profits and pulling him deep into the scheme. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun shows Gite the photos of the chemical symbols she managed to snag. After analyzing them, Gite realizes they represent an oxidizer, a chemical designed to corrode and eat away at paper fibers. It immediately clicks for both of them. Jay isn't just destroying the fake money, he's sabotaging it right before distribution. But everything is still just a theory at this point. While grabbing a meal with his teammates, the pieces finally fall into place for Gite. He realizes Jay's endgame. After intentionally damaging 500 billion in counterfeit bills with those chemicals, Jay is going to request the Bank of Korea to replace them, claiming they are damaged legitimate notes. The bank will then shred and burn the old fakes and issue 500 billion in crisp, brand new, real currency. Just like that, he turns 500 billion in fake paper into 500 billion in pure, untraceable wealth. Realizing the scale of the threat, Gite and his team rush back to headquarters. Once they confirm a bank has requested a 500 billion won replacement, Gite cooks up an ultimate, top-tier plan to catch Jay red-handed and stop the laundry scheme 5 days before it's set to go down. However, before the plan can even start, Jay calls Young-hyuk to complain about a fat guy who's throwing the whole operation off track. Jay informs him that he's changing the plan to create a perfect alibi for both Young-hyuk and the chairman. Feeling like he's getting the short end of the stick, Young-hyuk loses his cool and slams on the brakes, pulling his car over in a rage. He's ready to fly over and handle Jay personally, but the promise of massive profit, combined with the fact that Soo-hyun has already turned herself in, forces Young-hyuk to swallow his pride and follow Jay's lead. Immediately after the call, Young-hyuk rings up the precinct and threatens his own colleagues. Not wanting things to escalate further, the humiliated officer has no choice but to release Young-hyuk's subordinate. As soon as he's out on bail, Young-hyuk picks him up and assigns him his final tasks to ensure the heist goes off without a hitch. Laundry day finally arrives, moving exactly according to the plan they discussed. Jay's attention to detail is insane. From the staff uniforms to the transport vehicle, everything is a perfect clone of the real bank security team. But Inspector Gite isn't sitting idle. The moment Jay and his crew kick off the operation, Gite's eyes and ears on the ground report back. Armed with this intel, Gite and his squad coordinate a lightning-fast strike. As soon as the armored truck arrives at the harbor, the police swarm in for a preemptive ambush. It looks like game over for Jay. But unfortunately, Gite is once again a move behind. Once again, the detective's genius is outmatched by Jay's masterclass in deception. See, a week before the mission, Jay had already brought the crew to the treasury. After some scouting, he managed to snag a security chip that held the vault's password for Yun to hack. With a few basic strokes of the keyboard, the team had the codes in their hands. They even broke in early just to soak in the taste of victory. To make the plan completely foolproof, Jay even kidnapped a bank manager to fake a retinal scan. That's exactly how, on the day of the heist, Jay was able to breeze through multiple layers of high-level security as if the vault doors weren't even there. The moment the vault door swings open, Jay's team moves like a well-oiled machine, their coordination perfectly in sync. In the literal blink of an eye, they execute a flawless swap of the dirty money, making the switch look absolutely seamless. Meanwhile, Jung-hyuk's right-hand man, having been assigned his task, arrives at Jay's secret tunnel. It's clear now, when the profits aren't split evenly, Jung-hyuk is willing to do anything, including hijacking the entire shipment for himself. Back at the bank, the manager receives a frantic call from Inspector Gite, telling him to halt all money transports immediately. Sensing something is seriously wrong, the manager grabs several security guards and heads down to the vault to check things personally. Just as the manager is about to open the door, Jay's team is pinned behind it, everyone holding their breath and praying they don't get caught. If those guards walk in, the whole mission is dead. Watching the situation unfold from a distance, Jay realizes he has to act fast. Just as the manager's hand touches the door handle, Jay creates a massive distraction to draw everyone's attention. His timing is perfect, successfully pulling the heat away and giving his teammates a literal second lease on life. Being the sly fox of the group, Jay confronts the security team and delivers an Oscar-worthy performance. He skillfully manipulates their negligence and earns their trust, allowing him to slip away in total safety. As Jay and Yun exit the bank, they cross paths with Inspector Gite. Their eyes meet for a split second, but because neither is on high alert, they walk right past each other without a second thought. Once they're in the getaway car, they immediately contact the crew under the vault to coordinate their exit. Underneath, the word is sent back to Gite, who has now personally descended into the vault to inspect it. Knowing the clock is ticking, Jay orders Fixer to begin transporting the goods. At the same time, at the base, Suni receives her mountain climbing orders according to the plan. From this point on, she and Fixer go their separate ways to handle their specific roles. Back at the vault, Gite and his team finish their inspection, but they come up completely empty-handed. As they walk out of the bank, Gite's partner drops a bombshell. What if Jay planted Soo-hyun from the start? What if she's just feeding us fake intel to prank the entire investigation unit? Even though he doesn't want to believe it, Gite realizes he has to know the truth. He speeds back to headquarters to personally interrogate Soo-hyun one more time. While Yun hacks into the security cameras, Jay is sitting on pins and needles. He receives an urgent update. 20 of Jung-hyuk's thugs have hit the tunnel to pull off a preemptive strike. Using his lightning-fast tactical instincts, Jay stays calm, calculates the timing, and alerts Fixer to get ready for a fight. By this time, Jung-hyuk's lead henchman has already sniffed out the trail left by Fixer's team. He and his goons set a perfect trap, waiting for a moment of vulnerability to ambush them. They flood the tunnel with a massive smoke screen just as Fixer's team reaches a turn in the passageway. Jung-hyuk orders his crew to move in, and in an instant, the entire tunnel is blinded by thick, heavy smoke. The thugs think they have the upper hand in the fog, but they are dead wrong. As the lead henchman lunges forward with an axe in his hand, he's met with a terrifying sight. Fixer's team was 100% prepared. Every single one of them is wearing a gas mask and brandishing a knife. The two squads clash violently, locked in a brutal, no-holds-barred brawl where neither side is willing to back down. Meanwhile, after lurking in the sewers for a while, Suni finally makes her move. She climbs out of a manhole and sneaks into the exact vehicle that holds the key, the most crucial item for this entire heist. Just then, Yun's hacking into the security cameras is detected by the system. She frantically alerts Jay, warning him that the team needs to get the hell out of there as fast as possible because their time has officially run out. Luckily, the moment Suni got the word, she managed to grab the crucial key and successfully bailed out of the vehicle. In a total blink and you miss it moment where her life was hanging by a thread, Jay's car appeared out of nowhere to save her at the very last second. While things were settled on the surface, unfortunately, the situation down in the tunnel wasn't so lucky. Because human strength has its limits and Fixer was nowhere near the same weight class as the lead henchman, the advantage shifted completely toward Jung-hyuk's thug after just a brief scuffle. To save his own skin, Fixer had no choice but to give up and run for his life. And just like that, Hyuk successfully snatched the mountain of cash. The same money Jay had worked so incredibly hard to smuggle out with absolute ease. When the team regrouped after such a high-stakes, brain-draining mission, Hyun immediately went ballistic on Jay, screaming at him because the entire plan had gone down the drain. They had lost the money, and to make matters worse, they still couldn't break their person out of the police station. Just as the tension in the room reached a breaking point, Suni pulled out the USB drive she had just swiped and slammed it onto the table. Holding that USB in his hand, an absolutely insane idea flashed through Jay's mind. He realized he could use it to flip the script, turning the team from empty-handed losers into total winners. Meanwhile, after realizing the crucial USB was missing, the security team immediately called Gite to beg for his help. After a quick investigation of the vehicle that had been broken into, Gite decided to head straight to the chairman of the guild to demand some answers. The two of them had a very detailed discussion about the situation and the sheer severity of this particular loss. After their talk, Gite decided to head back to investigate further, promising to report back to the chairman later. But right before leaving, he dropped a name that was all too familiar. Hyuk. This question hit the chairman as an arrow shot straight at his heart, leaving him with no choice but to play dumb and pretend he didn't even know who the guy was. Back at the office, high-ranking officials are huddled in a high-stakes meeting. They're discussing a secret society, and it turns out someone has managed to get their hands on a full list of its members, and exactly what kind of dirt they've been up to. Every crime this group is currently committing is linked to the recent massive money laundering scheme, making this an urgent matter of national security. As they talk, one official looks absolutely terrified. He knows that if this entire ring is exposed, he'll be the one taking a major hit one way or another. Later that same night, another secret meeting takes place. This time, the room is packed with veterans, the old guard of the power structure. They've gathered to address the recent scandals that have been blowing up. After a heated discussion, the group finally reaches a consensus on the success or failure of their current predicament. Meanwhile, back at the bank where the money swap happened, Inspector Gite has finally discovered the flaw left behind by Jay's team. Right next to a massive hole, he finds a mountain of physical evidence and clues linked to the heist. Over at the police headquarters, a government representative shows up to meet the director. He drops a direct order: go public with that old murder case from the past, and give them every single detail. Without even giving the police director a chance to process the order or react, the official turns around and walks out. Back at the investigative unit's office, Gite is absolutely livid. He just found out that the case he's been pouring his life into has been officially scrapped. To be pulled off the case just as he was reaching the final step makes him beyond frustrated. Just then, the news starts to break. The person on TV announcing every gritty detail of the old murder case is none other than the police director himself. Seeing this unfold, Gite and his teammates start to realize the dark truth that the government is trying to bury. But Gite isn't about to let his integrity be defeated that easily. He hunts down his partner, determined to get some real answers. Once they are alone in a private room, Gite's partner finally spills the beans on the real reason Gite was kicked off the task force. As it turns out, Jay has managed to catch everyone upstairs by the throat. He has leverage on all of them. The higher-ups are desperately trying to cover it all up, which leaves Gite completely stunned and confused. Meanwhile, down at the harbor, Hyuk is riding high on his victory, happily slurping down a bowl of ramen. His henchman then brings a low-level patrol cop before him. Seeing Hyuk, the cop doesn't hesitate to start trash-talking him. He even pulls out a pair of handcuffs, threatening to arrest Hyuk just so he can get a promotion. Seeing that the kid won't shut up, Hyuk puts down his noodles, stands up, and leads the young officer to a truck that is literally overflowing with cash. Just like that, the cop is instantly sold and flips his loyalty to Hyuk's side without a second thought. Hyuk gives him a specific mission: help guard and camouflage the mountain of cash so it can be shipped off to China. Hearing the plan, the cop is clearly excited to be part of the crew. But before they can finish talking, Dr. Choi appears out of nowhere. Without beating around the bush, she tells Hyuk she wants in on the plan, which makes him incredibly happy. He lights a cigarette and offers it to her, a silent gesture of agreement, welcoming her into the dirty money operation he's leading. After the total failure of his investigation and having his case suspended, a broken Gite has nowhere to go but to Soo-hyun. The moment he sees her, he loses his temper and screams at her. He blames Soo-hyun for the investigation hitting a dead end. Feeling insulted that he's blaming his own failure on her, Soo-hyun gets offended and walks right out on him. Back at Jay's headquarters, the hacker whiz Yun detects a signal coming from Dr. Choi. It's definitely not a coincidence. The tracking signal was sent out on purpose. At the same time, Jae receives a secret update from Choi about Young-hyuk's plan to smuggle the mountain of cash out of the country. But because she's trying to leak the intel so covertly, Dr. Choi accidentally drops her phone. Young-hyuk catches the suspicious movement in her eyes and her awkward behavior, and he immediately walks over and powers off the phone. Luckily for her, he doesn't actually check the contents, or Choi would have been in for a brutal beating right then and there. Meanwhile, having been released not too long ago, Soo-hyun decides to treat herself to a truly delicious victory meal. Just as she finishes stuffing herself, Gite pulls up in his car to pick her up. Despite their massive blowout earlier, they sit in the car and start reminiscing about their past collaborations. Suddenly, Gite receives a mysterious phone call that forces him to pull a sharp turn and speed off, taking Soo-hyun along for the ride. At the same time, Young-hyuk is huddled with his crew, finalizing the logistics of moving the money abroad. When the new recruit brings the good news that the money is ready to flow, Young-hyuk is absolutely ecstatic. Immediately after the call, he puts Choi and his henchmen on notice. They are to stay by his side 24/7 until the job is done. Eventually, Soo-hyun is released back to her own team, but seeing Jae again leaves her in a total state of mental confusion. She had already gone to the NIS, National Intelligence Service, but to Jae that didn't seem to matter at all. Seeing how calm Jae remains, even though she had spilled so many of his secrets, makes Soo-hyun feel an overwhelming sense of guilt. While she's standing there frozen like ice, Jae invites her outside to walk down memory lane together. Taking the chance, Soo-hyun asks Jae why he told her she had completed her mission perfectly. That's when Jae starts to break it all down, piece by piece. As a veteran fox of the underworld, Jae explains that he knew about her partnership with Gite from the very beginning. He didn't just know, he took control of the situation by using Soo-hyun's betrayal to manipulate the entire game and level up his play. Jae reveals his master plan. He's been using Gite as a pawn to capture Young-hyuk. All Jae has to do is wait on the sidelines and swoop in to take back the money that was rightfully his all along. Right after his talk with Soo-hyun, Jae meets Dr. Choi again to get the latest on Young-hyuk's upcoming moves. However, when Young-hyuk's lead henchman sees Choi leaving their territory, he's suspicious. Turns out Young-hyuk is playing his own game. He intentionally let her go so she would feed Jae fake information. It's a mind-bending game of manipulation, and at this point, nobody knows who will actually come out on top. Immediately after, Soo-hyun calls Gite to report the plan. Not only that, she gives the inspector a deep dive into Jae's personality and psyche to help the investigation. The next day, all three factions are ready to hit the road, all heading toward the exact same destination. Everyone is locked and loaded, with heat in their hands and their plans burned into their brains. This is set to be a blood-soaked, high-tension showdown between all three sides. But the biggest surprise comes from Soo-hyun. She asks Hyun which car Jae will be using, and she successfully sneaks into Jae's trunk to hitch a ride without him knowing. It's a high-level chess move by Soo-hyun that Jae couldn't have possibly predicted. All three cars arrive at the rendezvous point. Because he threatened Dr. Choi, Young-hyuk already knows that Jae will be appearing in the guise of a driver. As the two cars pull up parallel to each other, Jae and Young-hyuk lock eyes. At that exact moment, Soo-hyun, still stowed away in the trunk, pings Gite their current location. Before anyone can react, the car Jae is driving gets slammed and rammed hard. Seeing that things have gone south, Young-hyuk jumps out of the car to assess the chaos. Just as Gite raises his gun and orders Young-hyuk to freeze, Soo-hyun suddenly pops out of the trunk. Like a blind man stumbling onto a walking cane, Young-hyuk instantly lunges for her, grabbing Soo-hyun as a human shield to secure his escape from the police perimeter. But in the middle of the madness, Fixer's voice suddenly crackles through the car's speakers. It turns out this was all part of Jae's original master plan. He had Fixer dress up as a decoy while he took a completely different route. When Fixer reports that Soo-hyun has been taken hostage, Jae's heart burns with rage. He immediately hacks into the GPS tracking system hidden inside Dr. Choi's glasses to hunt down Soo-hyun's location. After dragging Soo-hyun to a safe house, Young-hyuk decides to drop a bombshell. He reveals the cold, hard truth about the warehouse fire from years ago. It turns out he was the mastermind behind the whole thing, setting the fire just so he could intercept the money. Even though Jae had shown up, it was already too late. He tried his best to save Soo-hyun's father, Jang, but the conditions were too brutal and he failed. After finishing his story, the fat villain nonchalantly goes back to eating, completely ignoring Soo-hyun's tears of fury. He then orders his thugs to toss her into a car so he can go meet the corrupt customs official he bribed. Meanwhile, Jae and his team have gathered all the intel they need, and Jae is about to give Young-hyuk a surprise he never saw coming. Just as Young-hyuk is dragging Choi and Soo-hyun out, planning to flee with both girls and the mountain of cash, a familiar car suddenly screeches onto the scene. The man stepping out is none other than Jae himself. With the aura of a total boss, he's there to take back his money and rescue his two teammates. Facing Young-hyuk, Jae remains incredibly cool and doesn't waste words. Single-handedly, Jae charges into a life-or-death brawl against Young-hyuk's entire squad of goons. In the blink of an eye, he wipes them out. However, when it comes to the big guy of the group, Jae finds himself completely outmatched in terms of size. Seeing Jae in trouble, Soo-hyun struggles to help, grabbing a knife to threaten Young-hyuk. But because she's no match for him, he easily knocks her unconscious. Thinking he's finally defeated Jae's team, Young-hyuk is gloating with pure joy. But as he approaches Jae, Jae pulls a move and sends him crashing to the ground. Luckily, Gite arrives just in time to join the fray. In the middle of the chaotic struggle, Young-hyuk manages to grab a knife and once again pins Soo-hyun down as a hostage. Seeing the situation turning south, Jae quickly gives Soo-hyun a secret hand signal. That signal triggers a memory in Soo-hyun from their past. In a flash, Jae snatches a gun from a nearby police officer. He levels the barrel straight at Young-hyuk and Gite, demanding Soo-hyun's safety. He makes a deal. As long as she is safe, he will give them whatever they want. Just like that, Young-hyuk gets what he came for and flees with the money. On the other side, Jae manages to get Soo-hyun away safely. After escaping the brawl, Gite hotfoots it after Jae and Soo-hyun. Jae hasn't driven very far before he slams on the brakes just to have a long overdue heart-to-heart with Soo-hyun. Just as the two are clearing up years of misunderstandings and are about to share a romantic moment, Gite catches up. Jae is absolutely livid that Gite ruined the mood right at the climax of his emotions. Without a word, Gite pulls out his gun and aims it straight at Jae. The two men stand there, glares fixed on each other with guns drawn, while Soo-hyun desperately tries to explain that it's all just one big misunderstanding. Jae continues to walk straight toward Gite with his gun raised. But then, in a sudden twist, he drops the weapon and surrenders. Seeing that the tension has finally broken, Gite lowers his gun as well. That's when Jae pulls off a slick bit of magic, performing a sleight of hand to produce a hidden USB drive, which he hands over to Gite. Finally, after all this time, the mountain of misunderstandings between him, the woman he loves, and the police is completely cleared away. Even though Jae desperately wants more time with Soo-hyun, he knows that a bad guy like him would only end up dragging her down. Taking advantage of the moment when they aren't paying attention, Jae suddenly leaps over the railing and dives headfirst into the sea. Interestingly, Soo-hyun doesn't look worried for him at all. Instead, she gazes out at the ocean with a bittersweet, melancholic look, lost in the childhood memories they shared together. Meanwhile, Young-hyuk thinks he successfully made his grand escape, but he has no idea that Gite has already been tipped off to his exact location. Suddenly surrounded on all sides by a sea of police officers, the corrupt captain has no choice but to raise his hands in defeat. Even as he's being arrested, Young-hyuk tries to play one last card, threatening Gite with the sensitive intel he holds. He claims this information is enough to spark a massive national riot, as it links high-ranking government leaders to his crimes. But Gite doesn't flinch for a second. He isn't intimidated by the threats and simply cuffs the man. Gite is beyond fed up with this case that has dragged on for 5 long years. Just when it seemed like the truth about the 500 billion won had finally come to light, another bombshell drops. It turns out the counterfeit bills were swapped for plain scrap paper. While the money sent to KC Bank was actually supernotes, counterfeits so perfect they are virtually indistinguishable from real currency. This revelation from the doctor leaves both Soo-hyun and Gite absolutely stunned. As it turns out, from the very beginning, every single move was a part of Jae's master plan. This mind-bending maneuver by Jae successfully outsmarted everyone in the game. The key to the entire operation was a distraction or fake-out strategy. Back at his hideout, Jae calmly explains the whole thing to his associates. Everything he did was for one single goal, to make sure Young-hyuk rots in prison for the rest of his life. Just moments ago, Young-hyuk was laughing in his cell, arrogantly thinking he'd only serve 3 years at most. But then, Jae, who has disguised himself, appears before him to set the record straight. Jae reveals that he pinned the entire 500 billion won counterfeit operation directly on Young-hyuk, ensuring that his sentence won't stop at 3 years. Young-hyuk's face turns ghost white as he hears he's now facing 20 years behind bars. After everything, the man the world saw as a villain turned out to be the city's secret hero. Jae stayed 10 steps ahead, taking down the corrupt cop Young-hyuk and finally restoring the justice he was owed. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching.